Hello, my friends and film fans, wherever you may be and however you may be watching. Thank you so much for giving us just a little bit of your time. Boy, it has been a, would you call it a trailer explosion text? Would you call it a trailer eruption? Would you call it a trailer orgasm, if that's where you want to go with this in your mind? It has definitely been all about the trailers today, and I was actually going through stuff last night. I was getting some show notes together. And I was getting some graphics together. I'm like, this is going to be a pretty fun show. It's not going to be so hard. Had some stories to talk about, a couple of trailers to talk about. And then today, as I'm finalizing some stuff about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, a new trailer drops. And I'm like, okay, we need to work that in. Then another new trailer drops. And I'm like, holy hell, that's the one that I wasn't expecting to get today. Time to redo everything. Then another trailer drops. And I was like, holy shit. Now I have to completely rewrite the entire show because there's a whole lot of shit going on. But you know what? Hey, like I said, it's an embarrassment of riches if you're a movie fan right now, especially if you love movie trailers, and I very much do. No Lady Cora tonight. She is resting up. She's had a busy time at work. Also, no Jeremy probably because he is at a convention up north of us, hanging out with Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes and doing stupid things that nobody else here would ever want to do. But it's okay because of all the trailers we have to talk about. I've got text to go over them all. What's going on, brother?
Oh, not too much. Just trying to survive this trailer apocalypse, if you will. Of hopefully we survive all the flood of information doesn't wash our houses away or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's when it rains, it pours, right? So,
and it's not even over yet. The Marvel panel doesn't even happen until tomorrow. So probably tomorrow there's going to be some other big trailers coming out. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, I've still got my fingers and toes crossed for like, oh, here's Ben Affleck as Batman again, but that's probably not going to happen. So
hey,
I'm just probably going to let that go.
If this lasts like 12 hours has given us any indication of what the next 24 might bring, then there could be one or two more big ones.
Hey, you never know. Never say never, right? Yeah, it's all good.
Already a whole lot to talk about. Go to the chat real quick and say hello. What's up, Penny the Pooh? Usually the first one in here saying hello. What's going on, you, my man?
Howdy.
MK Kratos. We were already going back and forth a little bit about the Indiana Jones 5 trailer. Let's see. Who else is here? I scroll down. Frederico. What's going on, Frederico? Good to see you here, my man. Derby 501st. What's going on, Derby? It's good to see you here. He thinks the Infant trailer looks great, but he saw the leaks for the movie. And yeah, I saw a leaked trailer a while back for this. I kind of glanced at a few minutes of it. For one, it was terrible quality, but
well, they usually are.
Yeah, for two, I was like, I didn't even want to watch it. I was like I said, for one, the quality was horrible. For two, I didn't really want to be spoiled for the excitement that I would eventually get from the first trailer. But
right.
But yeah, we'll get to India in just a minute. For now, let me do a little bit of housekeeping real quick. Next week, I will be getting back to giving away $25 in free movie tickets just for being a member on Patreon. Now, what Patreon is, just go on there. You support us for $5 a month. And once a month, I give away $25 to go see whatever movie you want at whatever theater you want. The whole point of this is to get people going back to the theaters. We're not trying to boost the box office numbers for the movie theater production companies. We're trying to help support the people that were very devastated by the theater closures in the pandemic. That is specifically the people who work the box office and concession stand. A lot of them are just kids that are trying to get their feet wet in the working world. And the theater industry took a real big hit during the pandemic. So I'm trying to get people to go out there, go back to the movie theaters. That's the whole point of this thing. Also, don't forget, new graphic that I just put together a little bit ago. We're getting closer and closer to 500 subs. And I said, as soon as we get to 500, we're going to do a charity stream for the Abandoned Pet Project. That is still part of the plan. We're at 427 or something right now. As soon as we get to 500, I will make the plans. It will be a charity stream for the Abandoned Pet Project. Basically, what the Abandoned Pet Project does is they go and rescue animals that were set to be euthanized at local shelters. They nurse them back to health, get them healthy, get them dewormed, get them spayed or neutered, get them chipped, get them back to 100% full health. And then they put the effort into getting these animals rehomed. One of the reasons why this is a big deal right now is a lot of people that went and got companion pets during the pandemic abandoned a lot of these pets once everything started to open back up and they were able to get out of their house again. Those douchebags that deserve to be spayed and neutered themselves, but more importantly, we need to get these animals taken care of. We need to get them brought back to health. We need to get them in good homes that will care for them. The Abandoned Pet Project does that. So as soon as we get to 500 subs, we will do a charity stream where 100% of the donations for that stream will go to the Abandoned Pet Project. It's actually based not too far from where Texas right now, in Bernie, Texas. But yeah, so spread this channel around. 500 subs. As soon as we get there, I will organize that charity stream, and we will raise some money for the Abandoned Pet Project. Now, let me pull up my lead-ins real quick because I'm doing all this by myself tonight. I was hoping to have Corey here to do this, but again, she was working, so it's going to be me and Tex tonight. And the first one we're going to be talking about is the Mario Brothers movie. I have my other monitor up.
Oh yeah,
I have that. Helpful. Let's see. Mario learns that being a hero is a tough gig in the new trailer for the Super Mario Brothers movie. The colorful preview in which Mario, played by Chris Pratt, sets off on an adventure to defend the Mushroom Kingdom against Bowser, voiced by Jack Black. It features a look at some of the I lost my thinker a minute. It features a look at some of the much anticipated characters, including Donkey Kong, voiced by Seth Rogen, Princess Peach, voiced by Anya Taylor-Joy, and Luigi, voiced by Charlie Day. The upcoming movie does have lots of references to the video games, like the obstacle course in Super Mario Brothers and Mario Kart, with a visit to Rainbow Road. Tex, you've seen the trailers. Jeremy's sounded really excited about it, but what do you think about this new trailer for the Mario Brothers?
I think this is the first step into a much larger world, and I think this is I think there's going to be I got a feeling we're going to be overloaded with characters, information, worlds, and all kinds of things with this film. And I think it's going to be fun. The trailer looks good. I like the animation. I believe it's made by the same people who did the Minion movies and all that. So they always did quality work with that. I think it's Illumination, DreamWorks, or somebody, whoever that is. And, I mean, I'm not the biggest Mario fan, but who hasn't played a Mario video game? You know what I mean? Super Mario Brothers 2 was the first time I ever played one. So, Super Nintendo back in the day, I still love that game. But I don't think I ever beat it, but I played a lot of it. I'm not the greatest at video games, but this movie looks fun. Like I said, the colors look good. I talked about this when we actually last time we talked about Mario, but the animation looks solid. Like even the denim on Mario's overalls looks like denim. Like, it's just the little small things, and the details I think look really cool. So I'm excited. It looks like a fun one you can take the kids to, and have a good family time. And hey, maybe if you win that $25 Patreon, you might save it for Mario movie. You never really know. Who knows? But I think it's going to be a cool one. I'm excited for it. What do you think?
I thought the trailer was good for what it is. I'm not overly excited by this the way that Jeremy and some other people are. The one thing I like about the idea of what they're doing here, though, is this is the best medium to have a Mario Brothers movie. They tried the live action thing back in the early mid 90s or whatever it was. It didn't do well. For one, they tried to make it look really, really dark. I don't understand why they went that dark.
They made it look like the Ninja Turtle live action movie, and it didn't work for Mario.
Yeah, it didn't work for that at all. Yeah. And my problem wasn't the actor. It had Bob Hoskins in it. Bob Hoskins was a legend. It had John Leguizamo. It had Dennis Hopper. I mean, it wasn't like they were hurting for talent. It was it was all conceived very, very poorly. It was too dark. I don't know what they were thinking they were doing with that, but I mean, whatever. But so this is the kind of medium that you should have this kind of a story in. It's this animated world where you can make it light and fluffy. You don't necessarily have to have faces of anybody. You can get Chris Pratt to come do Mario, because who cares? It's all animated. So I think this is going to go over a lot better in the long run. Am I falling down over myself to go see it? Not really. I mean, for one, video game movies have a tough time really getting a foothold in theaters. So that's number one. Number two is this particular IP has its own history of not doing very well. And number three, I'm just not the video game head that I once was. So, I mean, I'm interested in seeing it, and I'll go see it for the purposes of us reviewing it. Am I falling down over myself? Not really.
Well, I mean, considering that Nintendo is opening their own movie studio, we know there's a Donkey Kong movie coming, and I mean, I saw reports maybe a month or so ago that this is kind of like the launch off for that Donkey Kong movie, side of the Nintendo world, and maybe Zelda or whatever might be next. I know Drew would love a Zelda game because he plays the crap out of that over on Big Rail Gaming Channel. But this movie feels. Did you see the new that movie Scoob that came out maybe a year or so ago? The animated Scooby-Doo film.
No, I don't think I ever saw it.
Well, what they did with that film was kind of what it feels like they're doing here. To start into a new world. It was a Scooby-Doo movie, but they had a ton of Hanna-Barbera characters from like the Wacky Racist guys, Dick Dastardly, and all those people from the old shows and whatever. I think they had Blue Marvel, whatever that character's name was, or no, Blue Falcon or whatever his name was. But with this Mario film, it kind of feels they're doing the same thing. Obviously, they're using Mario as the launching pad because that's the brand, that's the IP that everybody knows. So, they can do a Luigi Mansion movie or a Mario Kart movie or whatever they want to do. And, I feel like we talk about it a lot, but everything's looking for a universe, right? Well, Nintendo's already got one built. They just haven't presented it yet. So I think that's what's coming here. So
yeah, but not every Nintendo game exists in the same universe, though. It's like, does Duck Hunt exist in the same universe as Mario? Does Mario exist in the same universe as whatever racing game was popular back on the old NES? I don't know. I don't know if you're just cramming all of your famous video games into a universe just to make a universe. I feel like that's one of the ways you're going to fall.
What's that video game that has all of Super Smash Brothers is like their Avenger movie. You take Sonic from his movie over here and Mario and all his characters, and they have to combine into a whole bigger thing or whatever. I could see them pulling. I don't know who owns the film rights to Sonic. I don't know. I'm sure they could probably work something out, but there's obviously with Mario, there's a lot to pull from. Yes, he doesn't have the greatest track record in cinema. But, they've only had the one movie, I think. I don't think they've done any other films. I know they did the animated show in the early 90s, I want to say it was. I watched it whenever I was a kid. I can't remember now. But either way, there's a lot to play with here. And, this is going to be one of those movies that sells a lot of toys, too. So, whether the movie's good or not, the kids are going to buy the toys up, and your Walmarts and Targets are going to be flooded with Mario even more than they already are.
Yeah, but like I said, I think this is the best medium to have this whole little animated adventure thing. Just don't do the live action thing ever again. I just don't do that. That didn't work the first time. Say what you will, but it was not a very good movie. It had its moments, but it was not a very good movie.
Well, animation has gotten to the point where you don't even really need live action to make it look good. It almost looks better in animation form because you can make it truer to the source material. So, and it's like you said a minute ago, you don't have to have Chris Pratt voicing Mario. You can go get the normal guy that does Mario or some Yahoo that does some other good impression that you like of Mario. And, you don't, these movies like this don't have to be made for $30 million if you get people who they may not be stars, but you don't see their face anyway. So, animation, it's always been big, but I feel like there's a lot of untapped potential with it. So I don't know. They can do a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they can. But anyway, go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys think of this new trailer for the Mario Brothers movie starring Chris Pratt, Jack Black, and a bunch of other people that, you can go look at their names up on the cast list on IMDb. Also, don't forget, we do have a poll in the chat. I'm wondering what film you guys want to see more. Is it Indiana Jones 5? Is it Transformers 7, which we're going to talk about here in just a second? Is it Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Volume 3? Or is it the Mario Brothers movie we just talked about? Or maybe there's something else. There's going to be a couple of other trailers that we're going to be talking about here that I'm sure are going to get Tex all riled up. He's probably going to run out to the theater to see those.
Oh my God, I can't wait for that one.
But if it's one of these 4 movies, or if it's another movie coming out in the next 6 or 8 months, tell us what you're looking forward to seeing by voting in the poll in the chat. Now, moving on to the next thing we're talking about today, and that is the Transformers. And boy, after years of Paramount's live-action Transformers movies feeling like they were coasting on their good looks, Transformers Rise of the Beast first teaser trailer is here to remind everyone that Beast Wars has always been the superior chunk of the larger Transformers franchise. Transformers Rise of the Beast is coming from director Stephen Caple Jr. and revolves around ex-military gearhead Noah, played by Anthony Ramos, and a museum researcher named Elena, who's played by Dominique Fishback. 2 humans who accidentally become embroiled in yet another conflict between the Autobots and Decepticons. Tex, we've been through about 12 of these movies now, of varying degrees of quality. What do you think of this new trailer for Transformers?
I love this trailer. I mean, to see a gorilla transformer, yes, please. You already have my money. I'm there. I'm I'm not the biggest Transformer fan. I couldn't tell you all the different Decepticons and Autobots, but I've always enjoyed the films. I've seen all of them. To me, it's a good popcorn movie. It's just like a Fast and the Furious or any other summer blockbuster that you just go turn your brain off and enjoy. I like the big shiny robots fighting each other. I always thought that was fun. Now the human interaction, I could do with or without. But the movies are a lot of fun. And to take the last one was Bumblebee with John Cena, I believe. That one took place in the 80s, I think. That one was actually a pretty good kind of return to form for the movies, because there for a while they got kind of stale, kind of whatever. So adding in the Beast Wars element to it, I think this one's going to do well. It looks good. It's got a built-in audience. Long established IP. Transformers kids from the 80s and early 90s are going to love this. So, adding the Beast Wars side to it, I think it'll do well. That, action will be, probably standard as they always are. But hey, with a Michael Bay film, I assume this is a Michael Bay film because the other ones were. But you're going to get a lot of explosions and battle scenes. So,
I think Michael Bay might be like a producer on this, but I don't think he's not actually directing it. I don't know exactly how.
Is he not directing it?
Oh, okay. No. I don't know. He's probably creatively kind of like got some input on that, but he's mostly a producer in name only because he kind of started the whole movie franchise. Personally, I thought this trailer was dope as shit. I'm ready to go.
Oh yeah.
I've said what I've said about the Transformers a couple of times. The first two movies I thought were good. The third one was kind of like meh, and then everything after that was kind of garbage until we got to Bumblebee. Bumblebee was kind of, like you said, it was return to form. It was a much better film. I wasn't big on John Cena. He was kind of useless to the entire movie. But
I think they got him just for the name, honestly. Just come see John Cena. I think that's all he was.
They think that he can be the next Rock. That he can be the next Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, that former wrestler who just comes in there and acts big and burly, and he spits off one or two good lines in a movie, and that's what he's going to give you. I wouldn't waste my time. You could have got a million tough guy Hollywood kind of guys who were like character actors in their 30s and do the same thing, but for some reason they went with him. But yeah, I thought Bumblebee was actually very, very good, and so I'm excited. I'm excited about this. And yes, Beast Wars is in and of itself. They haven't really touched it a lot outside the animation, and the movies that we've gotten from Michael Bay and on, they've been focused mostly between just like Optimus Prime and Megatron, expanding this universe a little bit and getting out there and bringing in the Beast Wars, bringing in things like the Constructicons or something like that, which they may get to eventually. That seems to me a good way to try to make this thing a little more fresh, to keep it from getting stale. Because I think that's kind of what's happening is once you get to that third movie, it's like, okay, how many times can I watch the final battle between Optimus Prime and Megatron before I'm just like, I'm getting a little tired of this nonsense. Can we do something different? So, bringing in Beast Wars and kind of going after a whole other storyline is very interesting to me. And you got Ron Perlman to do Optimus Primal, which I think is fucking awesome. I don't know if there's a more perfect person that could have voiced it. And then of course,
got Hellboy to do that's pretty good casting. I mean, it's
and then you have the same voices coming back to do like God, who does voice? I totally forget the voice for Optimus Prime.
Peter Weller?
No, not.
Or
Peter
is that
Weller.
RoboCop?
That's RoboCop. He played RoboCop.
Yeah, that's RoboCop. I know who you're talking about though. Yeah.
Somebody in the chat will help me out with this. I'm sure of
it. Somebody will know it.
Oh, what's up, Night Watch? Night Watch in the chat. What's going on? He was coming by to show some love. Go check out his channel. He's in the description below as well. Yes, Peter Cullen. I knew it was Peter something.
I knew it was Peter. Yeah.
But so it's a nice, fresh way to kind of to stir this up a little bit, to do something new. Well, newer with some of the same characters, because it was getting a bit boring. And I think one of the things that made Bumblebee work is that you got away from kind of the kind of standard stuff that they had set. You got to follow Bumblebee, who is by far, with the exception of maybe Optimus Prime, probably the most popular character in the franchise. You got a chance to follow. It was a bit of an origin story for him. You got to add in a young and up and coming actor like what's her name, Haley Steinfeld. You got to bring her into it. She had already done a couple of big things. I think she'd already done like True Grit and some other things, and she had kind of she had upped her profile a lot. So it was a good way to kind of reinvigorate the franchise a little bit, give a new storyline. I think this has the potential to do all of that. The CGI looked cool. I mean, it's exciting. You are going to get a little bit of Optimus Prime, obviously. Bumblebee obviously is in it. I don't really know about the human characters. Again, I feel like they're going to be kind of useless, with the exception of kind of being the damsels in distress. They're both going to be the Mary Sue character.
Who was the Transformer that's the silver Porsche? Because they really focused on that in the trailer, like that's the new Bumblebee or something.
I think that's Mirage.
Oh, okay.
That's why you see in the trailer he sends out those like holographic images of himself.
Right.
That's one of the things that Mirage can do, is he can do something.
Okay. That was really cool when there's like 6 of them. I was like, okay, yeah, I like that. I like where this is going. This is cool.
But yeah, I'm about it so far. I mean, I want to see another trailer, and then of course I want the movie to kick ass. But they've got to get out of the rut of just the final battle being between Megatron and Optimus Prime, because after a while it's like I don't really care who wins anymore, or I want Megatron to win just because it'll be different. Because we all know how that fight's gonna turn out, you know.
I always liked Megatron in the movies. I always thought he looked cooler than Optimus Prime in actual, bot form or whatever. But
I liked Megatron just fine, but it's like there's only so many times where I can watch the same 2 people do battle at the end of a movie before I'm like,
right. Yeah. Well, I mean, but how many franchises have the same heroine for the 8 films or whatever? You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. But I don't know. Transformers is big. I mean, I'm a toy collector, and I'm in the toy aisle a lot. Transformers never go away. They are always coming out with new models, new versions, new this, new that, whatever. There is a huge audience, a huge market for this stuff.
And they've stayed strong both in the animated realm and in like comic books and other stuff. So it's not like this IP is completely dried up. There's a lot of different storylines you can pull off of and you can play with and kind of expand off and branch off of what we've learned from the first 3 or 4 films. So you can do more.
I mean, how much? Or obviously, this is the same same Optimus Prime from the previous films. And I do like how they redesigned when he's in truck form. It's got more like a 70s 3-tone style paint job, like the red, white, and blue stripes going down.
He looks a lot like the animated version of Optimus Prime in this trailer.
Yeah, that's it. I like it. Kind of had that retro throwback, late 70s, early 80s look to Optimus or whatever. But this whole Beast Wars thing, I want to see more. Like I said, I don't know all the Transformers lore or whatever. More of my knowledge comes from playing with them as a child and then watching the movies when they came out. I briefly watched the cartoon, but I was more of a Ninja Turtle and Batman the Animated Series kid. So, but I mean, how do you not love giant robots fighting each other and turning into cars and tanks and gorillas now? So hey, this is perfect for film. I like it. I think it's cool.
Yeah, but go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys think. The first trailer for Transformers, I forgot the name of it now. It's not Beast Wars, Rise of the Beast. I was stuck in the Beast Wars thing for a minute. That's what it was called back in the animated stuff. But yeah, so Transformers. It's going to be Transformers 7. It's going to be the 7th movie. I don't know if it's going to be Transformers 7. But it's the 7th movie in the franchise. It is Transformers Rise.
Transformers timeline. The Transformers timeline is as muddy as the Fast and the Furious one at this point. They're just jumping back and forward in the middle of everything else.
Yeah, it's almost getting it's borderline as diluted as what the X-Men timeline was for Fox back in the day.
Oh God,
they're just like continuity, schmontinuity. To hell with whatever timeline.
They know people are going to go see it. But their kids are going to love it. Continuity be damned.
Yeah, go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys thought of the trailer for Transformers Rise of the Beast. Now, let's get more into something I'm sure Tex is going to want to talk a lot about. The horror genre. Horror is a genre that seems to love the holiday season. There is no shortage of slasher films that are set the season. Among them is The Mean One, a much buzzed about indie horror release that finds an idyllic little town beset by a murderous, gleefully violent Grinch. In the little town of Newville, overlooked by a very familiar mountain, something is wrong this Christmas season. It seems that the Christmas killer, who rampaged through the town years earlier, has returned, ready to wreak more havoc, right as the residents of Newville are trying to enjoy some holiday cheer. This time around, though, the mean one will have to face Cindy, played by Crystal Martin, who watched the creature kill her mother all those years ago and wants to roast this beast. Tex, you've seen this. We've actually been talking about this for most of the last week.
Oh my God!
Are you excited for the mean one?
Dude, this is like the Jim Carrey version on crack, and I'm here for it. This looks amazing. I mean, I'm not totally sure that they didn't go buy that Jim Carrey costume and throw some blood on it, because that's how good it looks. I mean, they've got David Howard Thornton, I believe it's the actor's name, who played Art the Clown in the Terrifier films, which is perfect casting. God, I love that dude. He's so cool. I mean, you've got a slasher Grinch movie. I never thought in my wildest dreams, I never thought something like this could come out. But, you know, I mean, with the news that we've gotten over the last week with what's becoming a horror film now, oh my God, this is like, I mean, I even said in the chat, this just became my favorite Christmas movie, and I haven't even seen it yet. That Violent Night, which we'll talk about at some point, but, you know, I mean, this is so cool. It looks fun. It's an independent film, just like Terrifier 1 and 2. You know, it may not be as flashy or as whatever, but hey, it's a horror slasher. You don't have to spend $30 million for CGI and everything else to make a quality film. So, you know, for the horror heads like myself, for the gore hounds, this is perfect. I mean, most people like myself can't stand Christmas movies. So if you want people, you know, we all have the horror fan in our family, and you want them to celebrate Christmas, go take them to this, because this will be right up their alley. This looks, you know, instead of Whoville, it's Newville, and the mean one instead of the Grinch. You know, I love how they're playing off of it. And I just, you know, I'm not big on musical numbers in movies, but I almost hope they have, instead of "You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch," I hope they have like a knockoff song to go with it. That's the one thing I really hope to see. I think that would be a lot of fun. Oh, that'd be great. That's what I'm saying. Just have like this twisted, kind of like the Clown Cafe song in Terrifier 2, but do like a Christmas version for the, you know, the mean one or whatever. I guess they can't technically use the word Grinch because that's, you know, I don't know how that IP works with all that or whatever, but this looks, I'm more excited for this than I am Violent Night, and Violent Night looks amazing. So you know, this is going to be fun. I think I'm anticipating this more than I even am Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, and I'm really looking forward to that. So I don't know. They gave me something I never knew I wanted, and it's going to be a great Christmas present. So I'll be going to see it.
Yeah, they're not allowed to say the Grinch. They weren't allowed to use Whoville. That's why they changed the name of the city to Newville.
Yeah.
So there are some things. There are some things that they aren't allowed to. Some elements they're not allowed to use. But because it's a spoof, they're allowed to kind of walk a very, very tight line when it comes to exactly what they make fun of. The one thing that I think they might catch a little bit of hell on is that character of the mean one does look an awful lot like the Ron Howard.
Yeah, it looks exactly the same.
That might be a little bit of a place. That might be a place where they can get tripped up on copyright issues. But for the most part, they're probably in the clear because that's essentially what this is. It's a parody horror film. But all I know is this sounds fun as shit. I know people are tired of getting their childhoods trampled on, but I mean, look, like I said, the holiday season is one that lends itself to horror. It's always been that way. I mean, they started making like Christmas-based horror films back in the mid '80s, early '80s.
No, you can go back to 1974 with Black Christmas. I mean, that came out before Halloween. It came out the same year as Texas Chainsaw did. You know, so, you know, Christmas-themed horror has always been there. I mean, Krampus, for goodness sakes. I mean, the stories go back, you know, before they were making the film. So there's a big market for it. And, you know, there's been probably 3 or 4 Black Christmas films. There's Silent Night, Terror Night. I mean, there's a, you know, there is a Christmas horror genre that the only people who would really know about it would be the hardcore horror fans. So, you know, there's a lot they could do with this. And I had a feeling whenever Terrifier 2 hit as big as it did. Obviously, the Mean One was already probably made by this point, but I think you're going to see a lot more independent horror come out, kind of like you did once Halloween came out, 74, then Friday the 13th, and then Nightmare on Elm Street, and then all of the ones that came afterwards. I think we're in another boom like that with Terrifier coming out. You're seeing all these independent films come out. Yes, they're parodies of children's IP for Winnie the Pooh, Grinch, whatever it is. But you're seeing a rise in independent horror films, which is what a lot of people have been asking for. What happens every time a new Halloween film comes out or a new Texas Chainsaw? Oh, well, you give us something new, create a new slasher, do something different. Well, this is what this is. So I hope all those people that complain about give me something new actually go out and support it, so we continue to get more. I can't tell you how many bad horror films I've paid to go see, even though I didn't like it, just because I wanted horror to keep going. And, if we want these things, we got to pay for them. You know what I mean? So I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a good Christmas film. It's going to be those, just like I said with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, or whatever else. Don't take it seriously. Just go enjoy the film. Watch all the schlocky horror slasher stuff and have a good time with it, because that's all it really is. I mean, it's a knockoff Killer Grinch movie. Don't take it seriously, people.
Well, and if you think about it, of all the things that you could turn into a horror kind of film that is a Christmassy kind of thing, wouldn't the Grinch be the most logical? I mean, because if you think about it, he's a kind of a weird creature that grew up amongst beings that are not like him. He lives up in a dump. I mean, there's something inherently dark about the character. So of all the people of all the characters that you could do a Christmas-like stories that you could do a horror take on, the Grinch is the most logical. I mean, because he is kind of a monster in his world. So
100%.
Yeah, you don't have to make this you don't have to make this. Sorry, I'm trying to mess with my computer a little bit. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be light and airy. It's like sometimes you just you just say,
I mean,
I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and hold on to the dark side of this character and just go with it.
Well, what you're seeing the rise in campy horror films, and I think that's really cool, because yes, you can have your serious slashers. I mean, look at Halloween Ends. As god awful as that movie was, that was a serious take on a slasher. Well, now you've got Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. You've got Violent Night. You've got The Mean One. Obviously these are more seasonal type movies, but the campiness is there. And it's. Horror sells. I would venture to say horror movies have more merchandise besides superhero films, because they're a whole thing unto themselves. Horror movies get more merchandise made. They than probably you don't see Gone with the Wind action figures. You don't see stuff like this, but horror fans will spend money, and you can make the films for cheap, and they normally always make a profit unless they're just god awful. And parody films. I mean, let's not forget the Scary Movie franchise. That whole thing is a parody. They made like 5 or 6 of those, and they played off of every horror character from Saw to Scream to whatever. So, this works in this genre. I mean, I think this is going to be fun. I'm guessing it's going to be a 90-minute Christmas romp of murder and chaos, and somehow the Grinch gets his in the end. I highly doubt that his heart, what was it, grew 3 sizes that day in the book or whatever it is. I can't remember how many sizes now, but I don't know. I think it's going to be kind of a fun watch. So, but yeah, the costume design was really cool. Now Cindy is the main girl in this, right? It's not Cindy Yoo-hoo or Loo-hoo or whatever. Is it just Cindy?
It just calls her Cindy. It says that her mother was killed years ago by the monster, and that she comes back for whatever reason and ends up going toe to toe with the Mean One.
So see, they're almost doing like what was that one? There was another horror slasher I can't remember now. It was from the 80s where it was very similar to this. But I like this premise though. I mean, you're making the Grinch your boogeyman, your whatever. And it's like you said, he was already in kind of an scary, nefarious kind of character as he was. So, just take it to the next level and throw some blood and gore in there. Hopefully there's some cool kills with like Christmas lights and Christmas trees and wreaths. And, if you're going to do a Christmas kill movie, you got to use the tools of the season. That's the most important part for me. Don't just make him a general slasher with a knife. You know what I mean? Give him a Christmas, like he has a candy cane scythe or something. That would be kind of cool to see. Give him a signature weapon. I don't know, do something fun with it. And hopefully they do the whole prancing around thing like they had Jim Carrey's version do. And with them getting the dude that played Art, I got a feeling they probably got him on purpose because he plays like that kind of weaselly, kind of anorexic looking character that kind of dances around like that. So I'm very interested to see this one. This one, like I said, this tops will Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey for me. I think it's going to be cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. I mean, like I said, I know most of the people are going to shit on it because they're like, don't shit on my childhood, don't ruin it, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Look, bottom line is, anybody who feels that way, I get it. Your point of view is valid, but you ain't got to watch it. All I know is I want to watch it. I think this is going to be great fun. Same thing with Pooh, Blood, and Honey. Same thing with the Bambi thing. We're probably going to talk about that next week. Same thing with all that stuff.
That was going to be gnarly.
If you don't want to watch it, then just don't watch it. Other people are going to have fun with it. They're going to realize that it's essentially just it's going to be satire. It's not anybody trying to ruin anybody's childhood. It's just going to be, we're going to do this unreal opposite take of what you would ever expect to get from this particular story or character. We're going to take on here, just do the exact opposite of what anybody else would have ever done with it, just to see how it works. And it's going to work, I think.
Well, I know you remember the VHS boom of horror back in the day. Once VHS became a viable source to release movies on, the video stores were full of movies like this where they didn't have the money to shoot and put it in a regular theater. So they'd shoot the movie in a week and put it on VHS and send it out to the family video stores and Blockbuster. Yeah. We're just taking those movies and we're putting them in theater. Now, it may be a 1 weekend release, or in the case of Terrifier 2, it went on for about a month or whatever. But we're just taking those trashy 80s horror films. We're giving them a 2022 shine and putting them in the theater because they sell. I mean, it's just one of those things. This has always been here. It just hasn't been presented. Most people only think, oh, well, a Halloween movie comes out in October, we'll get this and whatever. There's a whole world of underground horror stuff that movies like this normally would be made, and they get sent to Netflix or Tubi or whoever that bought it at the Cannes Film Festival or whatever. So I like to see these independent underground filmmakers get their shine, get their try at it. And, I hope it does well because I want more. I want more independent horror. I want new characters, new stories. Give me something I haven't seen before. As much as I love my standard slashers, I'm always up for a new character.
But is this a new character, though? Can you really say it's a new character?
Well,
it might be a new take. But is it really
I'm not saying this is obviously this is not a new character. It's the Grinch. We know what it is. But the premise is what more I'm talking about. We've never seen the Grinch horror film. And if something like this does well, the next independent movie that is a new character that comes out might get a shot. So if not for anything else, go support it for that reason. And you know what? It's a fun holiday film. It's just on the scarier side. I mean, go back and look through all the scary Christmas tales. Like I said, go look at Krampus. There's been 1,000 different Krampus movies people have probably never seen. There's some scary stuff that goes on. And let's not forget, Christmas is the holiday where an old man breaks into your house in the middle of the night and drops off packages. Okay? Just saying. If this was any other time of the year, you'd shoot him. Except at Christmas, he gets a pass. And he eats your food while you're there, too. So Christmas is not exactly what it is. So.
If someone breaks into my house and leaves me gifts instead of stealing shit, I'm
well,
like, oh, okay. you can do that once a month if you bring cool shit.
Does it not say in the song it's the most wonderful time of the year about ghost stories as well? So I mean, there's a spot for horror at Christmas. I think it's the most wonderful time of the year. So I'm kind of, it's playing in my head, but I can't remember the title. Either way, there's a lot you can do with this, and I hope it does well. I hope it gets. It'll probably only be in theaters not long. I wouldn't imagine. It'll probably be, like I said, something along the lines of Terrifier 2 as release schedule goes. But I'll be going to take. I might even take the kids to it. I mean, the kids like scary films as much as I do. So, I dig it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, me too. But obviously, I want to know what you guys think. Are you guys excited to see the mean one, the horror slasher version of The Grinch Who Stole Christmas? But it's not really the Grinch, but it's really the Grinch. We all know that.
Right.
So go down the comments and let us know what you guys thought of the trailer, or if you even got a chance to look at it or not. I think it's pretty interesting. I'm willing to give this movie a go. And again, it's got a good creative team behind it the guy anyway that played Art in Terrifier. So not to mention, ironically enough, he actually did a lot of Broadway stuff of the Seussical musical. He played the Grinch in that as well. So he's going to play
really?
the Grinch
I didn't know
kind of
that.
straight up the way it was written by Dr. Seuss, and of course this slightly perverted, more deadly version of the Grinch, which I find kind of interesting as well. So he's really connected to this thing from a couple different angles.
Oh, that tagline should be on the poster, slightly more perverted. Like somehow they need to work those words onto the poster, because I would buy that poster and hang it on the wall. That would sell.
But we do have a couple more trailers to talk about. This one is sure to garner some pretty good talk between me and Tex. I'm really kind of bummed we're the only two people here right now. But the question stands, will 2023's biggest movie star be a black bear on cocaine? By the looks of it, maybe. Universal released the trailer for Cocaine Bear on Wednesday, and the movie looks like chaotic, star-studded fun. Directed by Elizabeth Banks, of all people, the flick is inspired by a true story that took place in the 1980s. Inspired by, not really historically accurate. We'll go to that later. Like other movies named after their beastly subjects, the content here is fairly self-evident. It's a bear on coke. When a 500-pound black bear inadvertently consumes cocaine that fell from a helicopter, the beast embarks on a quest to kill anyone in sight and becomes addicted to the substance. The bizarre thriller is set to hit theaters on February 24th of 2023. Tex, we've been talking about this trailer for the last couple of days, kind of in our chat room.
Oh, my God.
What did you think of the action-packed trailer for Cocaine Bear?
I fell in love with this movie the minute I saw the trailer. The minute I saw the bear laying on his back, like ingest an entire brick of cocaine, I'm like, all right, I don't know what this movie is going to be, but I'm here for it. This look, I love the Sharknadoes and all of those twisted animal movies, that get made by Sci-Fi Channel and whatever. I've never heard this story before. Like I said, I don't know how true this is. If technically, if 1% of this is real, it's inspired by true events. The rest they can make up for whatever.
Well, I had put a video in our Twitter chat.
I hadn't been able to watch that yet.
It tells the story that inspired this. Now, again, it didn't go down like this. The bear didn't eat some cocaine, then go on a killing rampage. The bear ate ate a couple keys of cocaine, then of course swiftly keeled over and died. But I mean, the concept of getting a naturally grown killing machine high on coke, the possibilities of what could happen, that sounds like something we could put in movie form, and it would look really awesome.
That will sell, 100%,
But so if we get a chance, I can put the link in after we get done the show. I'll put the link to the video that I give the rest of the people. So basically what happened is it kind of happened just like that. There was a drug smuggler this actually happened in Kentucky, not just a few hours from me. This actually happened in Kentucky, and a guy who was apparently he was known for like flying overhead, dropping cocaine out of an airplane, and then parachuting out with 30 or 40 pounds of cocaine on him. And then he would parachute down to the ground, collect the rest of the cocaine, and take it out to sell and distribute, do terrible things with it. But apparently what ended up happening is some old guy who lives in Kentucky walked out on his front porch one day and found this guy's dead body in his driveway with 40 or 50 pounds of cocaine on him and a parachute. And apparently this guy, either the parachute malfunctioned or he was also known for waiting as long as he can before he got closer and closer to the ground to pull his parachute. So people were thinking that either his parachute, I don't know if his parachute malfunctioned or if he was just a dumbass and accidentally killed himself trying to be a fucking stuntman. But one way or another, this guy died, so he obviously was not able to go collect this cocaine that he had thrown out of the airplane. And a bear actually did eat at least 1 kilo of the cocaine for whatever. And And there is actually a story even after the bear dies. There's a very interesting story here about the bear carcass. It ended up like in the Middle East at one point. Then ended up being sold to somebody in Vegas. Then ended up back, and now it's actually back in Kentucky in the area where all this shit started to begin with. It's a really weird story that you guys have got to go check it out. You got to check out that.
Wow,
it's really cool. But but this does reconfigure the dynamics a little bit. To the bear actually got fucking hopped up on coke and decided he was going to walk around the wilderness finding hikers and killing people and shit, which is fantastic.
See, this is so somehow we're getting 2 killer bear movies within 6 months of one another between Winnie the Pooh and then Cocaine Bear. Like this is insane. Like that trailer just looks like fun. You know, you've got this gigantic black bear eating a brick of coke and then just going gnarly. I want to see this. This looks like fun. You know, normally, you know, it's weird. We're getting a lot of stuff released in theaters that I don't think normally would, but I think this is going to be a hit. I think this has now Elizabeth Banks. I'm not really crazy about her directing. I hated that Charlie's Angels movie that she did, and I've just never been the biggest fan of her. But if you put a coked out bear in a film, I will go see it. You have my money already. So I think it's going to be cool. I hope they got to have cool kills. I mean, obviously, you know, they can do the whole, I shot him 6 times if they wanted to reference Michael Myers from Halloween 78 or do something. Have the bear come running at somebody and somebody's popping off rounds in his chest or something. But, you know, there's a lot you can do with this. You can play a lot with this. And it just looks like fun. You know, we obviously know it's nonsense. You know, the whole based on a true story. Like I said, if 1% of it is based off of it, you can claim it. So I think it's going to be a fun watch. I'm here for it. You know, this is one that you can have fun with this movie. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, the only thing that makes me worry about this movie is Elizabeth Banks. She is not really home runs as a director.
I can't think of one movie that she's made that I've liked, to be honest with you.
She a little bit of low budget, not horror stuff, kind of like heartfelt stuff, but not. I mean, she did the second Pitch Perfect movie, which isn't nearly as good as the first. Still funny, but not nearly as good as the first. But yeah, the one thing I like about this movie though is the cast. I mean, Jesus Christ, this is what I don't know if this was the film that Ray Liotta was making when he passed away. I don't think it was. But I mean, it's got you know Ray Liotta in it, which is going to be nice to see him on screen one more time.
Yeah,
he, of course, passed
that
away.
dude's a legend. Yeah, I mean, God rest his soul. That dude was a legend.
Yeah, he passed away several months ago. I'm trying to get a full cast list because I know there was, but it's got what's her name? Russell. Why am I'm drawing a blank here. Give me 1 second. I'll have to pull it up. Kerry Russell. Yeah, Kerry. It's got Alden Ehrenreich. Alden Ehrenreich, who played Solo in the Han Solo movies. He played. Yeah,
I thought that's who that was. I couldn't place him. I seen his face. I was like, I know this guy, but I couldn't remember where he was from.
Yeah, so it's not like it doesn't have. It's not like they didn't reach for a little bit of talent. I mean, they definitely kind of went for the balls on this one. So I'm like, okay, I'll see how this goes. But that I love the poster. Look at the poster on the left. God, isn't that awesome?
That's something you want to hang on the wall right there. Just like if you've got like a movie room or whatever, that's something you put in like a frame with lights around it. What looks like you're in the lobby of a theater or something. That's a cool poster. I like how they have him all dusted white like the Coke. I like that. That's awesome.
It looks like one of those pictures that people will write in like table salt on a table, only they did it with cocaine.
See, I saw a lot of people comparing that poster to the Dark Knight Rises posters. You remember how it was a black poster where it was all like the rain was covering, like where it had Bane or Batman or Catwoman or whoever it was. A lot of people were comparing it to that because it's very similar. It looks cool. I mean, I could see that on a T-shirt. I would buy that. Like if Fright Rags put out a Cocaine Bear T-shirt, that's something that I would wear. That looks cool. I like that.
That's pretty dope. I do love it. Yeah, I'm all about this movie. I mean, there's no way this movie can't be a home run. I mean, it's obviously gonna have some great kills. It's got some great gore. I mean, just
they couldn't have made it for very much either.
some of the stuff the bear does in the trailer is wild. Like that part in the trailer where he's
Right.
running after the ambulance and he just jumps after the ambulance as
Yeah,
it's driving away. And he's still like, he's flying through the air all slowly. He's obviously going to land in the back of the ambulance and tear that guy a new
Right.
asshole. It's like, dude, that was such a great shot. That was so cinematic. I was like, yeah, bring this movie on. I'm ready.
Well, the whole time I'm watching that ambulance chase scene, I have that scene from Deadpool in my head where he goes, superhero landing. That's what I thought in my head as I'm watching this play out or whatever. So this looks like a lot of fun. It's, you know, I like movies like this. Obviously, you know, movies like Pearl Harbor and Gone with the Wind have their place. But I love a good cheesy slasher flick. Give me a gore flick, something that I don't have to think about too much and just have fun with. You know, I think it's going to be cool. Give the bear, just like you said, give the bear some cool kills, and you know they need to massacre him in a very epic way at the end. Very, you know, like Michael Myers at the end of Halloween 4, where there's 15 guys with automatic rifles and shotguns just blasting away or something. They have to handle this bear very well or do something. I don't know. I'm not sure how I'd end it if I were doing it, but you got to go out big because there's no way that. Well, you technically could do a sequel, but you know, I highly doubt this thing is sequel bait. So I don't know. I do want to see it though. I think it's very interesting.
They could start a universe of animals that get jacked up on cocaine and go country.
Let's see. We can have a cocaine bear. We can have a moose on heroin. You know, we can just do. What can we give fentanyl to? You know, like a beaver or something. just go crazy with this thing, right? Just go.
Yeah, but fentanyl makes you go to sleep. They got to do what's that crazy weed stuff kids are smoking during dying? Salvia.
Salvia. Yeah. That fake marijuana.
Yeah, somebody needs to give like a deer some salvia and have it go nuts and start killing people. But yeah, this movie just looks like a lot. This movie just looks like a lot of fun.
God.
I can't understand how you would not want to go see this movie and just be like, okay, let me have it.
I mean, if you watch that trailer, it's a very serious trailer. But a movie like this, you could almost have a comedic take to it and have it work as well. Because, like I said, it's like a alligator versus croc movie or a Sharknado or whatever. It's very in that vein. So you can play comedically and still keep the scary. But I think it works even better if you do play it off as a legit scary deal and leave the comedy out of it, because then that's even better. So it just depends how they want to take this thing. So I don't know. There's a lot of potential with this. Like you said, I'm all in. They've got my money already. Whenever it comes out, I'll be there opening weekend. I can't wait. So,
yeah. But go down the comments below. Let us know what you guys think. Did you see the trailer for Cocaine Bear?
Cocaine Bear.
Dude, seriously, the name alone sounds amazing. How could you not listen to that name and go, huh?
Well,
tell me more.
Just look at how they dressed Ray Liotta in this movie. If that doesn't scream 1985, I don't know what is. Like, his costume in this film is incredible. So y'all need to go see it. It looks great.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. So get on the comments below what you guys thought of the trailer for Cocaine Bear and whether you guys are going to check it out in theaters. I am going to be there opening night, my friend. That is something we may have to have a dedicated spoiler review for, because this movie sounds like a lot.
That deserves it. That deserves a live review. I will. If I watch Halloween's Ends 5 times, I will watch this 15 times. It looks that much better. So I am all the way in. Yes, sir. I'm down.
But let us know what you guys thought of the trailer for Cocaine Bear. Now let's talk about the one that caught us all by surprise just about 8 hours ago that really got the internet abuzz. And that is Indiana Jones: The Dial of Destiny, which will arrive in theaters on June 30th of 2023. It did drop its first trailer today in Brazil. The trailer debuted at the Brazil Comic Con 2022 and gives us our first real look at what very well may be Harrison Ford's last run as Indy. Actually, I think he confirmed it will be his last run as Indiana Jones. The trailer begins with John Rhys Davies' character Salah speaking to Indy and reminiscing about their past adventures, saying there just may be one more calling their names, despite Indiana saying those days have come and gone. What follows is quick cuts of footage from the film, and it includes glimpses of a digitally recreated younger Indy, a look at Indy's goddaughter, Helena, who was played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, a classic comedic scene involving whips, guns, and timely dodges, and even a little nod to the Millennium Falcon. Tex, you've probably watched the trailer as many times as I have today. What did you think
Oh
of
my
the
gosh.
trailer for Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny?
The scene where he's, when Indy's all trying to, cowboy this thing and control the room, and he's pulling that whip out in that room full of bad guys, and he's whoop-ah, whoop-ah. He goes, it says whatever he does, and then like 18 guns come out pointed at him. You just see Indy just dunk to the floor. That was my favorite scene.
I thought that was a funny reversal of the scene in the original film, Raiders of the Lost Ark, where the guy has the sword swinging around, and he just one of the guns shoots him, which is one of the funniest scenes in the entire movie.
The trailer looks good. I slowed it down a little bit. The scene where they have Indy in that officer's uniform held down in a chair, is that the age scene where they de-aged him, do you think?
So
I couldn't really tell. It looked like it. So I'm not really sure. Like, obviously, from what I could tell of the de-aging, it looked good. And obviously, we know they have the money, because look what they did for Mark Hamill and Mandalorian.
That also could very well have been kind of a remastered scene from the cutting room floor of
it could have been.
Because it looked like it might have been like in that setting. So that may just be a cut scene from the movie with Sean Connery.
Right.
It's kind of reworked. So it might have been, but they probably de-aged him too.
That and the scene at the end of the trailer where he's riding the horse down New York City, like right there in, right where they dropped the ball, right there in the middle of New York, whatever. That looks really cool. Times Square, Times Square, I couldn't remember. That the CGI looks good. The story looks solid. I'm interested with this Nazi angle, because we know how big the Nazis were with the space program here and Operation Paperclip and everything else. So I'm curious to see how much real world they play with, kind of like we talked about last time, where, I brought up that whole Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where Tarantino, he took something real, but he made like his own version of it, kind of thing. So I'm curious to see how the Nazi influence is on this. And, we know what happened in the real world, what happens in Indy's world. And, Harrison Ford, I mean, if Cora was here, she'd be, panting to death just to talk about this movie. We know how she loves him. But, he's one of the last real movie stars, I would say. Him, Tom Cruise. There's a very short list of actual movie stars. But, it looks good. It's like you said the other week. I don't need to see anymore. Just give me the movie now so I can go see it. I think the more you spoil of this movie, the worse it's going to be. And it's got its dedicated fan base. People are going to go see it. So I wouldn't even release another trailer. I'd just say, here's the date. Come give us your money, because people are going to do it. So I think it's cool.
Yeah, it's a long known fact that Indiana Jones has been his best on film when he's fighting against the Nazis. Because the first film, obviously, he dealt a lot against the Nazis. That was great. Second film, which was technically a prequel, for those of you who don't actually know that little fact, no Nazis involved. Wasn't? Yes, it's technically set. It's technically set before the events of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I'll be down. Yeah.
But it's. That movie wasn't. I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was interesting enough. It's a good Indiana Jones adventure film, but it wasn't really liked amongst a lot of people. Then, of course, you get to the third one, the Last Crusade, again against the Nazis out for whatever, and that movie is probably the most beloved movie of the franchise, with the exception of maybe the first one. And then you get to the fourth one, The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which in my opinion should never have been made. They tried to go like communism and shit like that rather than Nazis, but the movie was it just wasn't good. There was so much about that movie that just didn't work. Mostly what I think they did to the Indiana Jones character, kind of redefining who he was. But this one, it's gonna continue to push Indy forward in time, linear in time to where he is anyway. But it is going to be heavily influenced by the Nazis, because we did see, I think I even put on here several months ago, the set photos of a train at a train station that had the Nazi or Third Reich signage on it, stuff like that.
Right.
So I think a lot of it's probably going to be flashbacks, not necessarily time travel. Thank God, because I don't want to see Indy get involved in time travel. So I think a lot of it's going to be flashbacks to maybe some people that he came across during the 30s and 40s, his adventures when he was a younger guy. And that's where we're going to find out that the Mads Mikkelsen character comes from, is that he was somebody that maybe Indiana Jones had stumbled across during his adventures back in the day, and now he's been brought over to America to work with Werner von Braun and the other people that came over here after with Operation Paperclip and helped us get into space and beat the Russians to the moon. And that guy is going to be kind of the foil, is going to be the antagonist for this movie for Indy, both in the past and kind of in present day in the movie, which is going to be interesting. So I don't know. I've heard Mads Mikkelsen say that this is going to go back and dig a lot deeper into the roots of the character and stuff like that, and that they're really going to take that history seriously and make it a big part of this film, which is fine by me. Again, look, James Mangold's directing this, and James Mangold made Logan, which I think is one of the best films that's come out in the last 10 years. So
probably the best X-Men movie ever made. I mean, who doesn't love Logan? I mean, it was great.
So that's promising. Of course, Harrison Ford signed on to it, so he must like it. If it had been a shitty movie or a bad script, then maybe he would have been like, I'm not going to bother doing this. I think I'm going to let Kingdom of the Crystal Skull be my final outing for Indiana Jones. So if he thinks that this is going to be it's going to leave a better taste in our mouth than the last movie, and it's going to be a better ending for the character, then I trust him to do that. I trust his judgment. But yeah, I'm interested now that I've seen this first trailer. Look, forever, wasn't entirely sure this movie was actually going to get made. I mean, I knew they
didn't he come back
the last 7 or 8 years.
Didn't Harrison Ford only come back to Star Wars if they gave him another indie movie, or was that just hearsay?
No. He agreed to go back and do one more Star Wars because J.J. Abrams agreed to kill his character, to kill Han Solo, because he thought that Han Solo should have died in the original trilogy, and George Lucas was like, "There's no fucking way. You got way too popular, way too quick. There's no way I'm going to kill you."
Right? Yeah.
Because he wanted Han Solo to die, and I think that's one of the reasons why he came back to do Han Solo again in the new prequel, in the new trilogy, was because he said, "Hey, I'll come back and do this, but I want to die in one of these movies." And J.J. Abrams was like, "Well, here's where it fits in best with the story. We're going to go ahead and do it in the very first one." So now he has said that he wanted Indiana Jones to die as well, but I don't know if that makes sense for the character. Maybe he dies in this film. I don't know. I mean, I think there's a less than 20% chance that happens, but 20% is still pretty big. So,
I mean, Harrison Ford, he's kind of the anti-movie star. Most of these guys want their characters to live on forever. I mean, look at, hell, it took 20 years for Hugh Jackman to not want to play Wolverine, and guess what? He's still going to play Wolverine again. I mean, most of these guys know that this is their forever paycheck or whatever. Harrison Ford seems like the guy that he did it. He wants to move forward, but I'm sure he's made more money than his family will ever spend anyways. So, I mean, for him, it's more about the artistic creativity, I would guess anyways. But I don't know. I think this is going to be a big, let's see, was this a Christmas release or when was this coming out? I can't remember.
This comes out in June, actually. So
okay, so it's a summer movie release. Okay, so for some reason I thought it was next. I thought it was a Christmas release next year, but I was wrong. I guess I had something else on the brain. But no, this will definitely. I would arguably say. I mean, obviously we don't know what else is coming out next summer besides whatever Marvel. This is probably going to be hard to top at the box office. I think this is going to get a lot of money and a lot of attention, and the trailer looks great. The CGI is there, the acting is there, and it's Indiana Jones, and everybody wants to wash that taste of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull out of their mouth. So this may be the one to do it. He's fighting Nazis again, so we can only hope for better than what we've had for the last one. So I think it'll be cool.
Yeah, I'm not entirely surprised at the timing of this trailer either. For one of the things that gets me is the subtitle. The what is it called? The
Dial of something.
Where's my thing? The Dial of Destiny.
Dial of Destiny. Yeah.
That doesn't quite jump out at me like Raiders of the Lost Ark or Temple of Doom or or
Yeah.
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. It doesn't really jump out at me like that. But then again, I don't quite know what the movie's about. Now, I wonder if maybe the Dial of Destiny isn't some kind of a weird artifact that helps you move through time. I'm really hoping they don't do some time travel.
Well, there's that one scene, if you watch in the trailer, where there's like blue light, it looks kind of time traveling. That's one thing that I did.
Actually, the one thing that jumped out at that scene is it looked like they were in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon.
That's what I thought too. I'm like, yeah, I said the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, holy shit, they're the Millennium Falcon. But yeah, that's when I was like, okay, so the dial apparently moves you through time and space, and now he's in the Millennium Falcon fighting some German guy. But yeah, I don't really know what the Dial of Destiny is quite yet. So, I mean, I don't know. There's going to be at least one or two more big trailers that come out. The movie doesn't come out for their 6 months, which is why I'm kind of surprised that we got the trailer. I figured they would have waited until, because they would have got a much bigger pop, I think, if they had dropped it at the Super Bowl in February. Because that would have been about 4 months before the movie releases. Actually, a little bit more than 4 months, like a week more than 4 months. But yeah, I'm really surprised that they dropped it so early, because usually you drop a big trailer this early, it's going to be another 3 months before you drop another one, and then all the pop you get from this trailer dies out really fast. But
that whole with the Dial of Destiny, though, obviously they're playing into the whole Nazi thing. That's part of the main part of the franchise. But if you dig into what the Nazis were working on with what was it called, the Nazi Bell, I think it was. I think they called it the Nazi Bell. Like, it was supposedly their anti-gravity flying thing they were working on, and the Nazis had. I'm sure you've heard all the conspiracy theories about the alien technology they had, this and that, and everything else. I could see them doing something with that if they were playing along that Werner von Braun angle. That it feels like a natural way for the story to go in this movie, but I don't know. There's a lot of conspiracy meat to play with here if they wanted to, and if that's the way they're going to go with it, and that whole time travel thing, I don't want to see time travel in this either. Maybe they try it and it doesn't work or something. I don't know. And, they can have Indy make a smart mouth remark about Nazi technology never working or some nonsense in Harrison Ford's old man grumpy voice. But, there's a lot they can go with this. And obviously, who was the younger guy that was in the scene where it's in New York City when Harrison Ford is riding the horse down the road, he's shooting. Do you know who that is, or is that a new character?
He's a new character. He's actually okay. The guy that played the guy with the mechanical arm in Logan. I forget his name. Give me 1 second. Let's see if I can pull it up.
Oh, he was the villain in Logan. Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, no, like I was kind of interested because he's obviously, it looks like he's on Indy's side, whoever he is. I didn't know if they were playing like that was a son or that was a whoever. I didn't know what angle they were going with, but I'm assuming.
I'm pretty sure they're not fucking with anything about Indiana Jones' son.
Well, I mean, obviously Harrison Ford is 80 years old, so physically he may not be doing a lot of action scenes is what I'm saying. So they may have him there to kind of fulfill that role. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm pulling up
IMDb so I can see exactly if it's got an exact name for him yet.
Yeah, I can't remember which mutant he played in Logan. I can't remember either way, but
he's the guy who shows up with a mechanical arm looking for X-13 or whatever her name is.
Yeah, looking for X-23 or whatever her name was.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they like I said, the whole Nazi time travel thing, that, there's a lot they can go with there. They can get real History Channel with this thing with all the shows that History comes out with that's not really history, but it's just entertainment. So they can play with this thing a lot.
That is Polrick is his name.
Oh, okay. I think I've seen him in something else. I don't know, but he looked really familiar. Maybe it was just Logan that I saw him from, but I remembered his face for whatever reason.
And one of the people in this movie we didn't see in the trailer is Antonio Banderas. We don't know what he's going to be in this movie either. It doesn't have an official character name for him. So
he's got two big movies, this and Puss in Boots coming out. So he's kind of making a comeback there.
Is Puss in Boots a real movie though?
Well, if you ask my children, if you answer the children, the answer is yes. But I don't know. Either way, we're getting a return of Antonio Banderas. Hopefully, maybe since he's coming back, he could do Once Upon a Time in Mexico Part 2, because I love that movie. That's always one of my favorite Robert Rodriguez movies. I always enjoyed that one. What the hell, Moriarty? Cool. Yeah, no, I don't know. Who could it? Maybe he's like a professor. He's got to be a good guy, because I mean, there's no way you cast Antonio Banderas, a Mexican dude, as a Nazi. I don't see how that works very well. But
it doesn't have an official name for him anyway. So
right, that's what I'm saying. They may be saving him for the next trailer, or whatever. I'm sure we'll see before. I'm sure we'll know who he is before the movie comes out, because you don't get a name that big and not advertise it. So I didn't even know he was in the movie till just now. But hey, Terry O'Barris is cool.
Yeah, I knew he was in the movie, but it didn't occur to me until I was looking at the cast list. I was like, I don't remember seeing him in this trailer. I'm gonna have to go back and look at it kind of on a slower speed and try to catch some of the stuff that I missed.
Yeah, like I said, the first time I watched it at normal speed, and then I went back and I kind of paused and freeze framed and picked up on this and that, whatever caught my eye. But there's a lot in that minute and a half or whatever that trailer is. And I mean, but it's like you said, they could have never released a trailer and just released the movie, and people would have flocked to go see it, because it's Indiana Jones or whatever. So I don't know. I think it'll be cool though. I think it'll be a fun watch. I'm excited to see new big movies coming out. I mean, obviously for 2 years we got nothing, so there's a lot to catch up on. And it's a big movie that's not made by Marvel. It's still Disney, but at least it's not a Marvel movie. You know what I mean? So it's some semblance of something from the past. So I'm excited for it. I think there's a lot of good news. There's some weeks where we do these shows and we're struggling for stories, but now we've just got riches of it. And, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, because you want to talk about this one, but then Indiana Jones, and of course that trumps everything. So you put him right to the front of the line. So yeah, it's all good though.
Yeah, again, I was not expecting to get this trailer today. I really thought it was going to be like either one of the conference championship games for the NFL or probably the Super Bowl, because it would have made sense. That's 4 months before it's supposed to come out. So that's right. That's that butter zone. And you could have dropped like a trailer a month up until the release date and just had all that marketing, that big wave of marketing rolling right into opening day. But they went ahead and released it today. And I'm happy, because I was wanting some tangible information about this movie. That way I could know that it's actually being made. Because even for all the set picks and stuff, I was like, I'm still not 100% sure this movie's ever going to actually see a theater. I'm very, very worried. But now I know
hold it down for 1 second. Somebody just knocked on my door. I'll be right back.
All right, good. But I mean, what do you guys think? Go down in the comments below and let me know. Did you guys get a chance to watch the trailer as it dropped for Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny? It's technically the 5th movie in the Indiana Jones franchise, if you don't count the Young Indiana Jones television series and stuff like that. I don't really know exactly how connected those things are to the larger universe, to the movie universe anyway. But going to the poll real quick, it looks like you got 11 votes in. It looks like it's actually fairly close. 45% of you say Indiana Jones 5. 36% of you are saying Mario Brothers. I'm actually really surprised that Transformers and Guardians of the Galaxy are doing so poorly. They're both tied with 9% of the vote, which is essentially like 1 vote each. That's very surprising. I expected Transformers and Guardians to be a lot higher than Mario Brothers. I'm actually really shocked at that. But then again, there are many gamers in this community that watch. So yeah, I am very, very surprised the poll is looking the way it looks right. I'm very surprised the poll is looking the way it looks right now. 45% of you are saying Indiana Jones 5, 36% saying Mario Brothers, and Transformers 7, and Guardians of the Galaxy have 9%. But that'll be open until we get to the end of the show.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I'm surprised Mario's as high as it is too. But I mean, it's like I said, people love Mario. They've been playing the game since the 80s. You know what I mean? So I'm not too surprised.
But anyway, go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys thought of Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny's trailer. What do you think of the name The Dial of Destiny. I still don't quite know what it means. All those names usually play into something about the movie. I can't quite figure out what this is just yet. But then again, we still have more trailers to come. So go down in the comments below, let us know what you guys think. And don't forget to vote in the poll as to what movie you're looking forward to the most out of the ones that are in there. We do have one more thing we want to talk about tonight, and that is another trailer that dropped today, relatively unexpectedly. That's Chris Pratt and his ragtag cosmic rogues are back in the first trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Marvel gave a look at the next stages of the Marvel Cinematic Universe during Brazilian Comic-Con today, actually. With various movies and Disney Plus TV shows in the pipeline, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, once again directed by James Gunn, is the latest spacefaring adventure for the bickering misfits, following a brief appearance in Thor: Love and Thunder. Tex, you got a chance to watch the trailer. What did you think of the trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3?
You know, I've never been a huge Guardians of the Galaxy fan. The first two films, they were never really my style, but I watched this trailer and it's got a darker vibe to it. Obviously, we know this is the end of the current Guardians team or whatever, you know, because James Gunn's moving over to DC. So we've been promised this is not the brightest chapter in the story. And the trailer looked good. You know, obviously, it had the cool soundtrack to it, but it wasn't the upbeat 80s pop songs like it has been in the past. It had a darker feel to it, with, namely Rocket and Drax being kind of the main points of this trailer. I mean, it starts out with Drax, chunking a soccer ball at that little girl's goat thing's head, and then they all get into it. That was kind of fun. But then, of course, Drax is, the crazier one of the bunch, but, the action's solid. It's a Marvel film. I think, obviously we've talked about phase 4 of Marvel, how kind of crappy it's been for the most part. It's had bright spots and whatever, but it hasn't been really well received, I would say. But I think this is kind of going to wash that taste out of a lot of people's mouth, because this had more of an in-game feel than it does a regular Marvel feel. And that's what I like about it. I'm interested. As much as I know about comic books, I know nothing about Rocket Raccoon. I don't know why you can't call him a raccoon. I just know he attacks you if you do that. So I'm interested to see the backstory with that. I'm guessing there was some genetic testing or some nonsense that went on. And Drax ain't looking so hot at the end of this trailer, so we'll have to see if Dave Bautista makes it out of this one or not. He's got a big shotgun blast in the end of the chest, it looks like. So I don't know. I mean, even Star-Lord's not his normal jokey self. So, we'll see if him and Gamora can get back together and he gets the love of his life back, or she cold shoulders him or whatever. So we'll see what happens. But the trailer was I watched it 2 or 3 times before we got here, and I was entertained by it. And I'm not the biggest Marvel guy, so I'm into it.
Yeah, I looked at this trailer and I was like, this is kind of what I expected. A lot of humor, obviously. I think you'd have to be insane to think this is the last Guardians of the Galaxy movie that we're going to see from Marvel.
No, I don't think it'll be the last one.
Just because James Gunn has decided to move on and take over DC doesn't mean that we're not going to see somebody else step in and direct Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, maybe it wouldn't be his brother necessarily, but I mean, right. I think a few years down the line we're going to see them again at some point. I mean, a lot of the actors involved. I mean, you look at what's his name,
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt. Yeah, there's so many Chris's in the MCU anymore. I get them all mixed up. But you look at Chris Pratt. I mean, a lot of these people are still relatively young. They can make 2 or 3 more films pretty easily over the course of the next 10 or 11 years. So you can keep them around for a while. It seems like it'd be a waste to just have them go away because James Gunn moved on.
Well, from what I read, this is not the end of the Guardians. It's the end of this version. It's the end of this team of Guardians, because there's been multiple teams in the past or whatever. So I could see them trying to bring up new characters. I think is what I was getting at a minute ago.
But I don't know if you want to do that, because you've already got. Look, you got to find some way to fold the X-Men into all this. You got to figure out some way to fold the Fantastic Four into all this. It seems a little silly to me to try to rebuild another Guardians of the Galaxy in the midst of all this. That's why I would say just go forward with the ones you have until they age out or you can't use them anymore. They don't fit with whatever your direction you're trying to go in phase 7, 8, or 9, or however the hell long the MCU ends up going on. I would say just use them as long as you have them, and then don't bother breaking them up and doing something else, because you start screwing with chemistry at that point. And once you start swapping actors and characters in and out, the chemistry is different. And if you ever baked a cake, you know, if you start tinkering with the amounts of ingredients and what ingredients you use, you end up not getting the best cake in the world. You know what I mean? So I say just go with these guys for as long as you can. Also, one of the things I really liked about this is there's a quick scene in there where it looks like you're going to get a little bit of the backstory and the history of how Rocket became what he is.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to maybe dig into a little bit more of the background of these characters, because we already know about. I mean, Drax has already talked several times about what drives him. Mantis, same thing. Actually, she goes into that a little bit more in depth in the holiday special. For those of you who watch that.
Yeah, that was actually pretty entertaining to watch. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, I don't like anything Christmassy, but I thought that the Christmas special was actually really fun. It was actually some good action in it too, and of course, Kevin Bacon. So
we now have a cinematic Kevin Bacon Batman. Okay, I am going forward with that. It was in a movie, and it was Kevin Bacon playing Bruce Wayne Batman. It counts in my book, so
it counts.
I'm going with it.
That works. DC go fucking go. But
DC be danged. We got a Kevin Bacon Batman.
Yeah, but the trailer looked good, and again, it's played. Obviously, there's a lot of Gamora. We're going to be getting some Gamora back, I'm curious to see how it all plays out. Look, I kind of want to know more about what the exact plot's going to be, but at the same time, a good first trailer, it lets us know that these guys are still goofy. I don't think it was really as dark as you think it is, though. It certainly, I don't think it was dark on the scale that Endgame was.
Well, I meant more in the way of it felt more in the vein of Endgame than it did Guardians of the Galaxy Chapter 1 or 2. Because it was more of a serious tone, because you've got Star-Lord, you can tell he's still aching for Gamora doing that whole thing. You've got Rocket, and they show the, glimpses of a backstory, and you've got Drax. It looked like he's, been blasted in the chest. It wasn't super dark, but it was more serious than the past Guardian trailers have been, or the films have been at times. It almost feels like they've clammed a lot into this movie. Plus, you've got what's the gold? Adam Warlock, the gold guy. That he finally pops up in there too. There's going to be a lot in it. It feels like they can almost make 2 movies out of this one, just from what we know already. So I don't know the runtime or what it's going to be, but I think this is going to be chock full, especially if this is the last time you get them for a while, because we know what Marvel's got coming down the pike. So, like you said, X-Men, Fantastic Four, more Spider-Man, and everything else. So, I don't know.
Yeah, again, a good first trailer. Again, when did they say this movie was coming out? I totally forgot. I'm gonna go look real quick.
Oh, I don't even remember. I don't know. It feels like this is going to be like. Well, I mean, obviously you can use the Return of the Jedi of the trilogy because it's the third one, but this feels heavier than the previous films do. Like, did we even see the villain of this movie in this trailer? Because I don't remember seeing him.
I think that's kind of what Will Poulter's going to be. He's going to be, if not the straight up villain, kind of the antagonist when he plays the one character he's playing. I forget the gold guy. I forget. But
Adam Warlock.
Adam Warlock. Yeah, Adam Warlock. Yeah, Adam Warlock. Let me. May 5th.
Oh, okay. So it's another. Okay.
So it's coming out in the spring. So in the spring we're gonna get this, and then eventually we're gonna be getting. Then a couple months later we're gonna be getting Indiana Jones. So yeah, it's gonna be a busy summer movie this season this year, this coming year. It's gonna be pretty big.
Well, and because I mean, obviously we know with Marvel they've got Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty and everything else coming up. So, if this is the end of this version of Guardians, how does that tie into Secret Wars? Because we know Secret Wars is going to have, tons of characters, not from just the MCU, but previous Marvel films that weren't connected to the MCU and everything else. So it kind of makes me wonder how. I mean, is there going to be, what Easter eggs towards that are we going to get? Because, there's going to be something with Kang since he's the new bad guy and everything else. Like, how does this all tie in with everything? I'm curious to see how it all plays out. So, I don't know. I mean, there's, Marvel. So technically, Phase 4 is over, correct? Black Panther was the end of it. That was
yes. Now,
okay.
now we're into Phase 5.
Okay, so this is start. I'm assuming. Well, is this the start of Phase 5, or is there something else that Marvel has coming out?
I think Ant-Man comes out first. Yeah, Ant-Man
Okay,
is the start of Phase 5. Ant-Man comes out in February. Ant-Man's just a few months away.
Okay, so Ant-Man will be the start of Phase 5, so that's where you'll see the whole King Dynasty really, really kick off. Because I mean, there's already been tremendous leaks about that film, about kind of the role that he plays in it. If you want, you can go out there and find it. But I'm curious to see how this plays into it, because I know Guardians, they don't have much on Earth. Their story is way out in the world, but with the multiverse and everything else, and Kang can go anywhere and do everything, apparently, there's going to be some Easter eggs towards that. And with them wrapping up this story, supposedly, of course, they're not really going to, because as long as they can make money off of it, they're still going to do something with it. But I'm curious to see where it goes. And, like that one scene at the end where they've got all of them have their backs to one another, and Groot has like 5 arms and he's shooting 5 guns. I really need to see that fight scene, because if they don't make an action figure of Groot with 5 arms and guns, I'm going to be very disappointed, because that's very toyetic. So, I'm not even a Marvel collector, and I would buy that just for how cool it looks. But
yeah, I would drop $500 on that hot toy just to have it.
That's what I'm saying. You've got posable arms with guns and everything else. That has the visuals that it looks cool, and it's I mean, Chris Pratt. I mean, what can you say? I mean, he pretty much does every franchise Hollywood will throw at him. He's got Jurassic Park, Mario, Marvel, and everything. So he's getting his work in while he can. You can't blame the guy. So.
And there's still that rumor out there that he may end up playing Indiana Jones in a reboot. So.
See, I actually wouldn't be opposed to that. I'm not the biggest Chris Pratt fan, but I could see him being Indiana Jones. Like, if, let's say, Indiana Jones is a time traveling movie, how mad would people be if Harrison Ford walked through a time portal and Chris Pratt stepped out on the other side? People would flip their lids over something like that. But I could see it happening. I mean, I don't know. I think Guardians will be cool. If this is the end of the trilogy, I just hope they wrap it up well. I hate when stuff is not finished well. That always drives me crazy.
Crazy Blade brings up a point. What is the next Marvel show? I think the next Marvel show. I'm not 100% sure.
Loki season 2, maybe.
I don't know when that comes out.
That's the only one I can think of. I know they've announced some shows for Phase 5, but I think Loki season 2 comes out before anything.
Well, they've announced all of Phase 5.
Yeah, well, yeah. Let's see. They announced all of 5 and the end in the beginning of 6 with the 2 Avengers films, with King Dynasty and Secret Wars.
You pull it up real quick so I can look and see exactly what's.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Loki season 2 is the next Marvel show that comes out.
Okay, so let me look at release dates, because I've got a list here, but it doesn't quite say the release dates. The next TV series, if this is to be believed, is What If season 2, and then Secret Invasion comes out, and then Echo, and then Loki, and then
that's Secret Invasion. Yeah. So what if that's pretty much in its own thing. That's not part of the MCU, right? So,
well, technically speaking, it's its own thing, but a lot of things that have happened in What If have kind of come to fruition in the movies, like Zombie Strange. Okay. We ended up seeing in Multiverse of Madness. What If and Secret Invasion both come out in early 2023. I think What If is actually scheduled to come out first. And then mid 2023, we get Echo and Loki. Late 2023, we get Ironheart and Agatha. And then early in 2024, we get Daredevil. As far as the movies are concerned, we've got Ant-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy in May, The Marvels in July. And then that's all for 2023. In 2024, then we get New World Order, the new Captain America movie. We have the Thunderbolts in July of 2024, and then
That's the one I want to see. Thunderbolts.
And Blade right now is scheduled for September 6th of 2024, but I have a feeling that that's going to end up moving. So
I think they pushed Blade back to October for more of a Halloween release, if that's me though.
I think it's probably going to be pushed back to 2025.
You think it's going to be pushed back that far?
Oh, they went to a page one rewrite. They started from scratch in that movie.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, if they really rush it, they could make September 6th, 2024, but I can't imagine that they really want to rush it. I think
Blade's been in such production hell, it's ridiculous. Though. I mean, it's been problematic from day one. So, yeah, I mean, I would say Blade has as many problems as the Flash movie has had, besides Ezra Miller stuff, but production-wise, it's had just as many problems. So, I don't know. That Secret Invasion, I know that plays on the whole Skrulls and everything else, but it's really weird that they're doing all this Skrull stuff without Fantastic Four there. It's like you're only doing half the story, but I'm sure the Fantastic Four will. I'm guessing Phase 6 was when we see a proper Fantastic Four movie or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, the way it sounds, Marvel's got everything booked out for a while. We know DC does on the other side. James Gunn was talking about working on a 8 to 10 year plan that him and Peter Safran, or whatever his name is, have been putting together. We know Kevin Feige's got like 20 something projects in the pike. So, they've got their next. Yeah. They've pretty much got their hooks in our wallets for the next decade, basically. So, assuming they all get made, because not all these projects go to fruition. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Marvel, I like that they're trying new things because, they're very formulaic a lot. That's the biggest gripe on them, I think. One of the things that has my interest a lot is that new Captain America movie, because the villain of it is going to be the guy from the original Hulk movie that got Hulk's blood dripped on his head, and he becomes the leader. And he gets like all green, and his head grows all big and everything else. I'm interested to see that dude come back, because I always liked that original Hulk movie with Edward Norton. I know it didn't get received very well, but I really enjoyed it. That's, looking back on it, that's one of my favorite Marvel films that's ever came out, compared to everything else that has. So there's a lot. I mean, obviously, Marvel's held her up to 3 or 4 or 5 projects a year between TV and movie. So, good luck keeping up with all of it.
Well, creatively, I think they need to slow down a little bit, but I mean,
I agree completely.
But one of the good things that's going to happen with Bob Chapek stepping aside, and Bob Iger taking back over, at least for now, is that he's giving the creative control of the project back to the creators, which I think is going to help a lot with the MCU moving forward. I don't know how much of the creative problems with Marvel started during Bob Chapek, or if it's just this weird natural transition that was going to happen after the end of Phase 3, because with the Infinity Saga ending, and I talked about this a long time ago, with the Infinity Saga ending, there was going to be kind of a soft reboot, so to speak, of the MCU.
100%.
They were going to go back to ground level, and they were going to build a whole new thing, a whole new saga. It just wasn't going to be centered around the Infinity Stones, the Infinity Gauntlet, and fighting Thanos. So I think there was going to be a natural thing about the MCU anyway, and it was going to look like they were kind of on a downswing, but really all they were doing is they just went back to ground level. They're going to build the next great thing, and you had to be patient with them for the first several movies. I didn't think I'd have to be this patient. I really thought there'd be a little bit more direction once we got done with Phase 4.
Well,
but
how many stars did they lose? Obviously, Chris Hemsworth, Thor is still there, but you lost Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans. They were the MCU. Yes, there were other people and everything else, but that was Iron Man and Captain America. So I mean, they never really filled those roles. I mean, Thor was off doing some weird little comedy, romance, drama stuff with his previous film and everything else. And Phase 4, it fell flat for so many things, and it's just I mean, I've said it before, but I think Endgame was more than a title because for a lot of people, that was where they stopped with Marvel. So they're going to have to win that audience back and get back to making all them as much money as they did. So I don't know. I'm excited with the X-Men coming back out. I just hope we get a good Wolverine. I want to see a good Juggernaut. I want to see a good Colossus. I want to see a good Magneto. You know, all of these cool characters and stuff. And Fantastic Four. They're the first family they call them. That's their nickname, right? So I don't know if we'll get John Krasinski back, but Marvel can replenish. It's not like they're out of characters, and I know that they're making 3 more Spider-Man films with Tom Holland. So they've still got a lot of shots left to shoot. But it's like you said, they're in a rebuilding year. It's just like your football team sucks. You're in a rebuilding year this year. You'll do better next time or whatever. So hey, we'll see what happens with it then.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. Yes, tour capture. We did watch the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 trailer. That's actually the topic we were just talking about.
Yeah,
kind of went off on a Marvel thing, but the trailer I thought was pretty good. It definitely sets up where they are. The humor is definitely still there. Obviously, there's plenty of Gamora in there. So one thing it doesn't tell us, obviously, is exactly how they end up finding Gamora, what position they end up finding her in eventually when they do. But I'm pretty stoked about the way that this trailer looked and all the rest of the trailers we've talked about here tonight. I mean, Mario, Transformers, the mean one, Cocaine Bear, which is probably one of the best names for a movie ever.
Oh my god!
Indiana Jones 5 and the Dilation of Time, or whatever the hell that was, the Dial of Destiny, and now Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I'm again a whole lot of trailers that have come out. I have a feeling there's going to be at least 1 or 2 good trailers tomorrow. They're going to be worth discussing. If I don't know about it tomorrow night, will probably be something that I end up doing that we end up talking about on Thursday. But yeah,
everybody tune in next week because there's plenty to talk about.
Yeah, there's a convention going on in Brazil right now. There's a big Comic-Con going on down there, and that has been a place where they have released some big trailers. We talked earlier about that's where they released the first Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, the one that got everybody talking. Did somebody hit Lizard or not? Were there supposed to be other Spider-Men in that scene? Well, yeah, spoiler alert. But right. Yeah, it's a whole lot of trailers that we talked about tonight, and there were some pretty good ones in there. Definitely some more coming tomorrow. But go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys thought of the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 trailer. And that seems like a good place to start wrapping things up since it was just me and Tex tonight. I think we did plenty of talking about all these trailers. Again, I was hoping to have Jeremy here for at least the Mario trailer, but he's up at a convention just north of us right now. He's having a fun time.
Well, he's over there, hobnobbing with the celebrities. He thinks he's above us. He couldn't be bothered to do some piddling YouTube show. So he's all Hollywood now.
If it wasn't for the timing of me having to move and everything, I absolutely would have been up there with him, hobnobbing with all the rich.
Oh, I don't blame you. If I could,
I'm too good to hang out with Tex and Cora tonight. I have to go hang out with Kevin Smith.
Hey, if I could hang out with Jay and Silent Bob, that's where I'd be too. I'd be tagging along. So I don't blame you. Hope you're having fun, buddy.
Absolutely. But don't forget to vote in the poll. Actually, let me go look and see if I can get my live streaming the YouTube studio, which is usually really slow to react for some reason. Right now, it looks like Indiana Jones is going to squeak out a win. Right now, Indiana Jones 5 has got 40% of the vote. Mario Brothers has 33% of the vote. Transformers has actually made a bit of a jump. It's now got 20% of the vote. And Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I'm really surprised that didn't fare a little bit better. I figured
that's surprising.
I figured all 4 of those would have been in a pretty tight race. But Guardians of the Galaxy 3, only 7% of you. That's basically like 1 or 2 votes out of the 15.
I would have guessed Guardians of the Galaxy would have been number 1, honestly, with it coming in as late as it did and everything else. I'm really surprised about
people's minds.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I'm going to go ahead and end the poll there. And it looks like Indiana Jones by just a couple of votes. Actually, I think one more person snuck in.
Indiana Jones by a nose.
Indiana Jones with 43%, Mario Brothers 31%, Transformers with 18%, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 with 6%. That's what you guys say is the most anticipated film of those 4. Again, also we've got the mean one and Cocaine Bear in there somewhere. So if maybe you want to see those movies Yeah, I honestly, if I'd have thought about it, I might have. You can only put four options in there for
Right.
your poll on
Yeah.
Facebook or on YouTube. Otherwise, I would have put in Cocaine Bear in the mean one. I have a feeling Cocaine Bear probably would have garnered more
I
people's
think.
votes.
I mean, if you held gun to my head between Cocaine Bear and Mean One, I don't know which one I'd go with. I love them both. You know, the Mean One's got the slasher aspect, but I've never seen a coked out bear in a film, so I might have to go with that just for the heck of it. I don't know. Either way, I'll be seeing both.
Yeah, no doubt. But anyway, if that was tonight, we very much appreciate it. Tex, where can the folks at home find you?
You can find me at Slasher Vision on Twitter or right here. That's about it. I don't do much. So, you know, I hope everybody has a good holidays and go out and do the things with your family and whatnot. Go watch the Mean One. Go watch him kill people instead of, you know, have his heart grow 3 sizes that day. So go check it out.
Yeah, someone's heart should have grown 3 sizes. He's going to cut it out and eat it. That's going to be a cool thing. But as for me, you can find me here every Thursday going over all the crazy news going on in the world of television, movies, and streaming. I don't know what our next big review is. I'll have to look at the release calendar, see when that is. But that usually happens either on a Monday or a Tuesday. Thanks to all of those of you who came and hung out with us tonight. We very much appreciate it. And also, I put a poll out on, I think, Twitter and on the communities tab on YouTube. Jeremy's been trying to get me to sell merch for a while now. I personally think that we're not a big enough channel to do some shit like that. I feel like I'm kind of putting the cart before the horse a little bit. But I was talking to Nick from Lost River Driving, and he said, hey, it costs you nothing. Go ahead, do
that
it.
Is true.
You sell a couple because he's got more subs than me. He was just like, I do it. It doesn't cost me anything. I make a couple of bucks in a t-shirt. A couple of people buy them here and there. It's whatever. And that way, if you do end up becoming a big YouTube channel, you've already got that little bit of infrastructure in place to sell some merch. And I was like, okay, maybe. So I was texting back and forth with Jeremy. He's got a couple of ideas about some designs and stuff like that. I've actually got one already kind of put together, but I haven't exactly put the store out live. It's going to be on Teespring. Those of you who are familiar with that website. Look for that at some point between now and the first of the year. I'm thinking first of the year I want to have 2 or 3 designs that we can put up there and sell at least on a limited basis. So I don't know. So go down the comments below.
Give it a test run.
Let us know what you guys would do. Would you buy some channel merch? I mean, I'm not talking about anything crazy. Probably just some T-shirts or something like that. Maybe a coffee mug because Jennifer likes to collect coffee mugs, and I might have to make one just so I can buy it for her, add to her collection. But cool. I think that I think it's probably I think we're probably putting ourselves out there a little too much right now. But again, it doesn't cost us anything, so. Maybe I'll just have it out there for the occasional T-shirt that we can sell. But go down in the comments and let us know. Do you guys think it makes any sense to sell merch? I personally think the channel's a little bit too small to feel like that we're that grand, but whatever. Nick is right. It doesn't cost us anything in the long run. So, and I'll probably buy a shirt or two. I'll probably buy a shirt or two.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna make sure to get mine. You know, I gotta. You know, I think it'd be cool. I won't tell everybody the designs that Jeremy and I were talking about in the group, but there's some really cool 80s themed stuff. If that's the design that goes through, that I think a lot of people are going to be interested in. So it's going to be cool.
Yeah, so go down in the comments and let us know if you guys would buy a shirt. I might try to actually connect it to YouTube somehow because Teespring has a way you can do that. But I'll have to mess with that a little bit because I'm a little bit computer stupid when it comes to doing some stuff like that. So I'll have to take that one a little slow to make sure I'm doing it right. But let us know if you guys would be interested in buying like some channel merch. And we very much appreciate you guys coming around tonight. Go check out all the trailers. I will try to put the link to that video that talks about the actual bear that ate the cocaine, who was named, believe it or not, Carlos Escobar was what they named him.
Oh, that's perfect. Oh, perfect.
I'll put the link out there. You guys can just watch
Carlos Escobar.
but yeah,
that's great.
Thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us tonight. We very much appreciate it. We'll see you guys next Thursday. Until then, adios.
See y'all later.